Well, it looks like Angel Reese. Well, it looks like she's just been caught in what could certainly be taken as in a lie. All right? All these things that she says she has dealt with over the last year, all these encounters of racism.
Angel Reese just got caught lying on live TV, and what she admitted has the entire sports world spinning. For weeks, headlines and social media were ablaze with accusations that Indiana Fever fans hurled racist remarks at Reese during a heated game. The WNBA launched a full-blown investigation, the media jumped on the story, and public opinion began to tilt in Reese's favor.
For you, Angel, tonight you were extremely efficient and played with a lot of poise and confidence tonight. For for all the scrutiny you do receive online and stuff of that nature, what kind of messages a game like this send to them, as well as just the kind of momentum that this can build for you throughout the season?
Yeah, I obviously don't worry about what's going on online. I get so much love in person. I haven't ever had a negative encounter in person ever. And I've been going through this for 3 years. I've never had an encounter in person that was negative. So people online are behind a keyboard for a reason, and I don't worry about that stuff. I trust my work. My teammates trust me.
But then, in a moment nobody saw coming, Reese sat down at a post-game press conference and said something that didn't just raise eyebrows. It blew the entire narrative apart. It started off like any other media appearance. Reese, visibly frustrated after yet another blowout loss to the New York Liberty, fielded a few typical questions. But then a reporter asked about the criticism she'd been receiving online. At first, Reese looked relaxed, too relaxed. Her body language shifted, and then she leaned forward. What came next felt unscripted, raw, and shockingly real. She said she had never had a negative interaction with a fan, ever.
Quote, I get so much love in person, I've never had a negative counter in person ever. What did the league just go through 3 weeks ago? Over what was supposed to have been this race hoax, it turned out to be a race hoax, but this big situation in which the Indiana Fever fans were hollering racist remarks and making racist noises.
That's right, the same player whose team had amplified claims of racist abuse from Fever fans now casually admitted on camera that nothing ever actually happened. The league's official investigation had already revealed something similar, but Reese's words brought it all home. The WNBA had gone all in, reviewing hours of arena footage, scanning audio from every angle, interviewing fans, players, coaches, even security staff. Not a single shred of evidence turned up, zero. No video, no audio, no first-hand accounts.
No way Angel Reese said that, no way she did. Angel Reese doesn't care about y'all. Is what it is. She's never had a bad encounter in real life, never had a bad interaction with a fan in real life. Then what was the whole point of this WNBA sham investigation? If you never had a bad encounter with a fan in real life, if you've never had a bad interaction with a fan in real life, then why not just come out?
And here was Reese, unintentionally backing up the league's findings, but in doing so, shredding her own credibility. So how did this controversy even begin? It all started with a single tweet. Someone claimed they heard something racist shouted from the stands. That claim spread like wildfire. Other accounts began echoing it without providing any new evidence.
We're looking at a lie spread on social media that went viral. We are looking into a literal lie spread on social media that got spoken into fact. We're looking at a lie.
Talk about investigation, put your cheese with an investigation.
Yeah, I think we agree. I think we're, in compliance with them, with the league, and obviously there's no room or space in our game for hate. So we're complying with everything that's going on.
Coach, when did you become aware that there was hate speech that happened?
Before long, major sports outlets were running headlines, and the narrative had taken on a life of its own. Nobody paused to ask whether the story was even true.
I think when everyone else did, I think that it's something that we heard about, and so again, we're just forthcoming with anything that the league is able to do investigation-wise.
Even Coach Tyler Marsh of the Chicago Sky later admitted his team didn't hear or see anything during the game. They only learned of the allegations after scrolling through social media. When Reese let that comment slip, the internet exploded again, this time in the opposite direction. The clip went viral within minutes. Fans and journalists alike dissected her words, compared them to her previous statements, and realized something didn't add up. For weeks, Reese had had painted herself as a target of racism, demanding protection, respect, and sympathy.
Counter. The WNBA even conducted an investigation about this negative encounter.
Now she was walking it all back like it was just a misunderstanding. That's not a clarification, that's a collapse. And it didn't help that Reese already had a rocky history with Caitlin Clark and her fans. People started digging up old TikToks where she mocked Clark after their college championship clash, doing taunting gestures and reposting videos making.
But this was put out right here. Again, hell, I thought it was fake originally. And I guess it's not. I mean, it's crazy. White girl running from the fade. There's Angel Reese right there. There's, of course, Caitlin Clark doing the responsible thing, not wanting to tank her public relations. Like Angel Reese walking away after the take foul the other night. Or the other day against the Chicago Sky.
Fun of her. One especially damning clip showed Reese referring to Clark as a white girl running from the fade. The hypocrisy couldn't be clearer. Reese had a history of online antagonism, but was now framing herself as a victim of it. The fallout hit hard. ESPN, which had been one of the loudest voices echoing the racism allegations, suddenly had to correct course.
The WNBA investigated both Reese's accusations and found nothing. In fact, well, I've called her the Bubba Smollett or the, Jussie Reese, Jussie Smollett, Bubba Wallace. I mean, she's right there now. She's in that company with false race hoaxes.
On live TV, their anchors were forced to acknowledge that the WNBA found no evidence of any wrongdoing. It was one of the most embarrassing backpedals in recent sports journalism history. Viewers watched in real time as commentators who once confidently blasted Fever fans now stumbled through awkward retractions. Meanwhile, fans weren't letting this slide. Social media was flooded with calls for apologies, not just from Reese, but from the media outlets that had run wild with the story.
Three-time BET Sports Woman of the Year, Angel Reese, says she doesn't pay attention to what folks say about her online because no one has ever said a negative word about her in person. Uh-oh. So what have you been talking about for the last 17 or 18 months?
Indiana Fever fans demanded vindication. They had been smeared without proof, labeled as bigots based on a viral lie. And when the truth finally came out, it was clear they'd been the real victims all along. Things got even messier behind the scenes. The Chicago Sky's PR team scrambled into full damage control mode. Suddenly, Reese's media appearances became rare. Press conferences were shorter. One-on-one interviews nearly vanished. When she did speak, team reps hovered nearby like bodyguards, ready to step in. Reporters started noticing the unusual restrictions, and they started asking questions. Why all the protection?
Earn yourself some brownie points and say, come on, nothing took place here. These are just some Twitter trolls. These are my Reese's Pieces making up news just to keep me relevant. Why didn't you just come out and say that, Angel Reese? You'd probably get a little bit more, what's that word? Respect. Doing something honorable like that.
What was the team trying to hide? And that's when the entire situation turned into a PR nightmare. Veteran reporters called out the bizarre handling of Reese's media availability. The tighter the Sky clamped down, the more obvious it became that something was wrong. Reese had gone from bold and outspoken to silent and shielded. To many, it looked like guilt. As more details came to light, it became undeniable. The entire controversy had been built on a house of cards.
I mean, what in the world is happening here? So Outkick would go on and say, hold up, let's rewind. Last June, Angel Reese claimed that a white Caitlin Clark fan blocked her and her teammates from entering a team hotel while calling her, quote, a ghetto bitch. Last month, Reese said she had a rough week because she heard a Fever fan shout racial slurs while she shot free throws.
A few social media posts, some unverified claims, and a willing media machine were all it took to smear a fan base. Reese's own history and her contradictory comments turned that spotlight right back onto her, and with it came a brutal backlash. The scandal didn't just hurt Reese, it also exposed the fragility of modern sports journalism. How did so many outlets run with a story that had no evidence? Why did no one question the narrative?
I'm also happy that the WNBA treated the matter with the utmost seriousness, followed through with the investigation, and I understand that having a platform comes with a responsibility, and I do not take that lightly. So as our league continues to grow, I am going to grow with it. And I am so committed to be better in how I share perspectives and grow alongside the game that I truly love and adore.
It wasn't just fans demanding answers, it was journalists and analysts too. The incident became a case study in how reputations can be destroyed overnight by speculation dressed as fact. Now, as the WNBA's 2025 season continues, the tension between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever is at an all-time high. Every game between these teams feels like a grudge match. The crowd energy, the player intensity, and the media attention have all been cranked up. What was once a sports rivalry has now become a national spectacle.
Well, actually, somebody that comes out and says hating pays due, I would think that that's exactly how she carries herself. Somebody that comes out and says, hey, hating pays too. Yeah, that's kind of how Angel Reese carries herself. Somebody who goes out of their way and says, I want to be the villain. They're watching because of me too.
And Angel Reese, once seen as the league's next superstar, is now at the center of its most damaging controversy. In the end, Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever walked through the fire with grace. They didn't lash out, they let the facts speak, and now, with the truth exposed, they look stronger than ever.
She accused the Indiana Fever fan base of being racist. They investigated it. They said those accusations were false. The least that she could do is apologize to our great state and the fans that show up at these games and say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Obviously, she's not going.
Meanwhile, Reese's image has taken a blow that may never fully heal. Her credibility was shattered, not by the media, not by the league, but by her own words. So what happens next? Can Reese recover her reputation, or is this the beginning of a long fall from grace?
Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are the best gift that the WNBA has ever had.
One thing's for sure, the next time these two teams meet, the whole world will be watching. And this time, the cameras won't just be pointed at the court, they'll be waiting for the next moment someone slips and shows us who they really are.